It's easy to say Yahweh comes first when nothing else is competing for first place. But eventually something will. Maybe obeying him changes your plans. Maybe it means turning down an opportunity. Maybe someone you love won't understand. Or maybe obedience affects your schedule, your money, your comfort, your reputation, or a relationship. And then your life has to answer a much more personal question. Who comes first? Because eventually, loving Yahweh requires more than discovering what he says. Eventually, you have to decide what you're going to do with what you now know. For a while, your question may have been, what does Scripture actually say? And that's an important question. Maybe you inherited beliefs you'd never examined. Maybe you began noticing things that didn't quite add up. Maybe you started opening Scripture for yourself instead of simply accepting what you had always been taught. And eventually, you may find an answer. But we need to be careful here. Not every uncomfortable choice is obedience. Not every personal conviction is a command from Yahweh. And difficulty itself is not proof that Yahweh is asking you to do something. The question isn't, what difficult thing can I do for God? The question is, what has Yahweh actually said? But once Scripture becomes clear, another question appears. Now that I see it, will I actually live by it? That's where convenience and covenant can collide, because most of us probably don't wake up one morning and decide, I'm going to put something ahead of Yahweh today. It's usually much more subtle. It sounds more like, I know what Scripture says, but this would create a problem. I know what Scripture says, but my family won't understand. Oh, I know what Scripture says, but this opportunity may never come again. I know what Scripture says, but changing now would be really difficult. I know what Scripture says, but maybe there's another way to interpret it. And sometimes there really is more studying to do. We should never be afraid to examine Scripture carefully. But there's a difference between continuing to study because the answer is unclear and continuing to study because the answer has become inconvenient. That's much harder to recognize in ourselves because convenience rarely announces itself as rebellion. Sometimes it sounds like practicality. Sometimes it sounds like keeping the peace. Sometimes it sounds like waiting for a better time. And sometimes it sounds like wisdom. Timing, circumstances, and wisdom can matter. But here's the question. Are those things helping me obey Yahweh? Or are they helping me avoid obeying him? Because the real issue is not inconvenience. The real issue is, who gets the final say? Deuteronomy 6:5 says, You shall love Yahweh your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. That's not partial love. It's not love that fits neatly around everything else. It's not love that lasts only while no one objects. And it's not love that remains convenient. It is covenant loyalty. And Yeshua connects that love directly with obedience. In John 14:21, he says that the one who has his commandments and keeps them is the one who loves him. Knowing is not the same thing as keeping. Agreeing is not the same thing as doing. You can discover something in Scripture, agree that it's true, even teach someone else about it, and still arrange your own life so you never have to act on it. This is where covenant loyalty becomes visible. Not when Yahweh's way happens to be the way we already wanted to go, but when his way and ours separate. Think about where that can happen. A job opportunity looks perfect, but accepting it would require you to compromise something Yahweh has shown you. A family tradition suddenly looks different after studying Scripture, but changing your participation may disappoint people you love. A relationship matters deeply to you, but staying faithful to Yahweh means setting a boundary the other person may not like. A financial opportunity looks attractive, but taking it would mean crossing a line you already know Scripture does not permit. Or maybe it's something smaller, your schedule, your comfort, your plans for the weekend, your desire not to explain yourself. Sometimes the thing competing with Yahweh is not evil at all. And that may be what makes the choice so difficult. Yeshua gave an example in Matthew 10:37. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. The problem is not that we love those people. Scripture commands us to love them. The problem comes when loyalty to someone we love determines whether we will remain loyal to Yahweh. That is competing loyalty. And that principle reaches far beyond family. Anything can become a competing loyalty when it gains the power to determine whether we will obey Yahweh. Money, approval, tradition, opportunity, comfort, reputation, relationships. None of those things are automatically wrong, but none of them can be allowed to become the final authority. That belongs to Yahweh. This is why week 26 is not really about giving things up. It's about faithfulness. Yahweh is not asking us to manufacture hardship so we can prove how devoted we are, and obedience is not a way to earn His love. The question is simply this: when obedience requires a real choice, will I remain faithful? Yeshua himself modeled this. In John 14:31, he says, "So that the world may know that I love the Father, I do exactly as the Father commanded me." That is covenant love made visible. Not merely spoken, not merely felt, lived. And this is where we need to examine ourselves carefully. Not with the giant hypothetical question, would I give up everything for Yahweh? That question is so large that it can stay theoretical. Ask something closer. Where am I currently asking Yahweh to work around something I don't want to surrender? Maybe nothing immediately comes to mind. Don't manufacture an answer. But maybe something does. A plan, a person, an opportunity, money, approval, comfort, a tradition, a way of living that would have to change if you fully acted on what you've already seen in Scripture. And if something does come to mind, don't confuse struggle with failure. Faithfulness is not the absence of struggle. You may feel afraid. You may grieve what obedience changes. You may wish there was an easier way. The struggle may simply reveal that something important is being placed before Yahweh. The question is what you do next. So here's your one obedient step this week. Identify one area where Scripture is already clear, but something else is influencing whether you will act on it. Then ask, if convenience, fear, and other people's approval were removed from this decision, what would faithfulness to Yahweh look like? You don't have to solve every area of your life today. You don't have to force a dramatic decision where Scripture's not clear. But where it is clear, you can take the next obedient step, because eventually the question is no longer what the Scriptures say. It becomes, will I live according to what I now see? And when Yahweh's way and something else you value cannot both have first place, your choice answers the question, who comes first? If you're walking through how to love God with me, continue the journey at chrislrockwell.com/how.